We're going to stay with the humanitarian issue now and introduce you to Yulia Zhdanova. She was living in the northern Ukrainian city of Chernihiv when her street was bombed. We're now going to show you a video that she'd shared with us of the immediate aftermath, a warning that this vision may be distressing for some viewers.
Аптека, блядь!
Some very confronting images and sounds there. Now, Yulia lives with her two sons and her husband. But as you can see from these photos, her apartment was decimated from the nearby bombings. Her car was also smashed in, as you can see there. The city is destroyed. And you get a sense here of the level of the destruction right across the city. Now, Yulia also shared with us images of a bunker that her family was using to shelter against the attacks on the city. Yulia is an English teacher, and all the while she's been communicating with her students. They've sent her video messages, which she's slowly gathering, in order to show the world what the younger generation thinks of the war.
We want to hug our relatives every day.
We want to be safe in Ukraine.
Yulia and her family have now fled Chernihiv for the western city of Ivano-Frankivsk, and it was from there that she spoke to me earlier.
When there was an explosion, we just heard a very loud sound and we fell on the ground. We covered our ears with our hands and we just waited because we didn't know whether there was going to be one more explosion or not. But in fact, we were not surprised because our hometown has been bombed for several days, and every day we were expecting that it could happen. Of course, it was like a hell, it was like a disaster, because every day you were like a victim and you never knew when it can happen. Of course, we prayed not to have it, but unfortunately it happened.
And Yulia, you and your family then decided to leave, and now you've escaped to the west of Ukraine. Tell us what that journey was like.
The journey was pretty tiresome because, first of all, it was risky. It was dangerous because the only one bridge which is left, which connected our city to the rest of Ukraine, it was mined, partially mined. So we just decided to try because it was too dangerous to be in Chernihiv, because they threw bombs into houses, into apartments, into block of flats. They killed just civilian people, not army, not soldiers, but just people, children. That's why we decided to escape. And of course, we knew the risks, and we knew that not all the cast managed to escape, but we prayed, we cried, and drove at the same time, because we didn't have any other ways out. And our way hold about 4 days. Because there were a lot of traffic jams, and there were some blog posts where we had to show our documents to explain where we are going, and the traffic was quite difficult because we had to drive away the places where there was shooting or bombing or risky places. So instead of 15 minutes, we could drive for 3 hours, and in 4 days, we were so happy and lucky to come to the city in the west of Ukraine. And we stayed several days at night at different cities of Ukraine. And we were so grateful to people, to Ukrainians, because they were so kind to us, so kind-hearted. They gave shelter to us, they gave food to us, and they didn't even want to take any money because they said that we need them more. So I must say that all Ukrainians now are combined. They're like friends. They want to contribute something. They want to help each other. So I'm really grateful to our people.
Of course, in all of this, Yulia, you have two children with you, of course. You have Stefan, who's 11. You also have Ilya, who is, I believe, 13 as well. How are they coping in all of this, you know, in the escape, in trying to get away from the conflict and moving houses and accommodation?
You know, nowadays they became really grown up. They even were not naughty at all. They didn't ask us why they needed to wake up late at night or early in the morning and run into the shelter and eat quickly, and sometimes eat not tasty food which is cold, or sometimes share one potato for several people. So they were quite serious and quite grown up. Of course, I believe that children must have another kind of childhood. Because I want them to be childish, more tricky, more mischievous, but unfortunately they're too serious, and they are very polite, and they understand the serious situation because this is war, and they felt it. They're quite horrified, terrified, because even now when we close the door very loudly, they shake.
Ilya's birthday, I believe, is this coming Wednesday. As a mother,
Yeah.
how do you feel about what your children are going through right now?
Today we have been discussing his birthday. Of course, we said that we will try to celebrate it the way we can. Maybe we'll just sing happy birthday song, of course without any presents, but still we will find some warm words. But the best dream we have now, it is of course about peace. Everybody speaks about that. All the news, all people, all our prayers is for the peace in Ukraine.
Yulia, you're also an English teacher, and earlier on we heard some of your students sending you messages. What are they in general saying to you?
We have a chat, and we have been communicating with them constantly, and I tell to them how I miss them, how I want to hug them, how I love them, and they respond, and they say the same, and they send videos to me, and sometimes they ask how we are. Nowadays, you know, it is a tradition. We always ask our relatives and our friends how they are, because we're afraid whether they are alive or not. So every 2-3 hours, I also message, text to my friends, to my relatives about this. The same with my pupils, and I really miss them.
Yulia, you know, we've seen so many people cross the border seeking refuge and asylum in neighboring countries at the moment. Why didn't you and your family do the same thing? Why have you decided to stay in Ukraine?
You know, I have such a hope in my heart that we will win this war, and we will maybe come back to our motherland, to our native city, and we miss it so much. And there are a lot of friends who left there, and the situation is very difficult. There is no gas, no electricity, no connection. Sometimes I can't call to them or text to them because they don't answer for several days, and we are in panic. So the situation is really difficult. But I want to see them again. I want to come back to our city. Maybe I just have hope that everything will be good and we will come back.
Yulia, as I understand it, your husband's family is in Russia. They're Russians as well. Have you been in contact with them? How do they see this conflict?
I mean, his cousins and his aunt, not his parents. Parents are in Ukraine, but his cousins and aunt are in Russia. And I must say that people don't understand the situation in Ukraine. They say that everything is fake. They don't believe to us when we say that we are bombed and people are shot, and that Russians kill children and just peaceful people. They say that it is a special operation and they want to help us. I don't know how it is. They save us Ukrainians from Ukrainians. Somehow it is in their head. They're like zombies, they're like blind. We tried to explain to them. We showed pictures to them. We showed our videos. We showed our bombed houses. We showed our destructed flats and children who slept in a shelter. And it is quite a dirty and not a pleasant place to see, but they believe that Putin and Russian troops will come and save us because we need their help. But in fact, we lived our peaceful life and we were so happy and we didn't want to have war. Ukraine never wanted to have war, but unfortunately, we must defend our earth. But now we stopped our conversations with our relatives because they don't really understand. They say that they have another point of view and we have another point of view, but in fact, we are dying and they are at home sitting and just judging.
You know, Yulia, you talk about how the community, how Ukrainians are coming together. They're helping you. They're helping other families like yourself who are fleeing the conflict as well. Did you ever think that this war would ever break out?
It was such a big nonsense. We could never even think that this could happen because our city is on the border of Russia and Belarus. And every year, Belarusian people came to our markets, to our supermarkets, every week, and they bought a lot of things, and they came to our place like guests, and we were always welcomed them, and we couldn't even think that they together with Russia could do that. It is such a disaster. They are worse than fascists because they are so cruel. They have not human war because they break all the laws, and it is I can't even explain how hostile they are because they bomb not only houses but hospitals, hospitals with pregnant women, hospices, different places where people live, parks, historical heritages, museums. It's unbelievable. We couldn't believe that it could happen. Even now we are in shock.
We, from the outside, are watching what's happening in Ukraine, and many of us feel quite helpless. What can we do to help?
You can tell to people that our demand is to close the sky because we are bombed from the sky and it is rather dangerous. And of course, if you can contribute some money to the Ukrainian army, it will always do good. And of course, Ukraine needs help of NATO, but NATO doesn't give everything it can. Maybe the society can influence it because people are dying all the time. Now I'm speaking, but I know that there are some hot points in Ukraine when people are dying right now. So we have to stop it. We have to stop.
Yulia, I hope you know that we're all thinking of you, and we hope you and your family stay safe. And Ilya has some sort of a happy birthday on Wednesday.
Thank you. Thank you.